and welcome to Self-Improvement Atlas, the Personal Science Insights podcast. I'm your host Aditi, and this is the final episode of our 4-part series where I take on a habit that we've discussed in one of our episodes in our podcast, which you should definitely check out, and put it into practice and see how it works for me. Just to recap, I'm working on maintaining an exercise schedule as recommended by Ryan Marinelli in episode 6 of the podcast, and you should check out that episode if you want more details as to what that entails. I'm going to be honest with you, we're not even maintaining the exercise schedule anymore. We're just making sure that I'm just making sure that I get the 150 minutes a week that I need. I figured that's the bare minimum, and I'm going to see how that helps me. Let's go. So I'm actually filming this intro on day 2. This is day 1, and I decided to try out my dumbbells. They're just 1 kilo, so I didn't want to start with anything strenuous because it's my first time. I found a 20-minute standing, no repeat dumbbell exercise. I don't know if it's for beginners or not. It didn't really specify. I think I got through like the final exercise and now I kind of have to stop. I'm sweating. I feel gross right now, but I think that once I've had a bit of water and maybe something to eat, I might feel better. I am doing this about half an hour, 45 minutes after lunch. So it's not like I'm running on empty. I've had a coffee, I've also had a cup of tea, and I've had a lot of water, as you probably saw throughout the exercise. But I was just struggling to finish it, and I figured I'm not going to force myself. I've got to work for the next few hours, and I want to be able to concentrate. So we'll see. I've got a lot to do. We'll see how that goes. I am going to try this again though, but probably not tomorrow. I might do it later in the week on like day 4 or day 5. Okay, so a quick recap. Sorry, I'm very sweaty. It's actually day 3. I was supposed to film on day 2, but what happened after day 1, which I kind of saw coming, but I didn't expect it to be as bad. I feel like I'm always surprised by how bad things are after I do a lot of lunges. But after day 1's like kind of full body dumbbells exercise, I was out for the count. Like my legs hurt to even just sit down and stand up, and usually that might take like a day to show up, and it'll be bad for a few hours in the morning, but then I'll get over it as kind of I just go through the activities of the day. But it was really bad yesterday. It was particularly bad yesterday, and it's still bad today. I can still feel the pain in my legs when I sit down. So I didn't end up filming day 2. If you watched the introduction, you would know that I set up to film on day 2, and I didn't end up doing it. What I did was just some like half an hour of stretches at night right before I went to bed, because I thought like the pain was so bad that I was struggling to even just relax at night sitting in bed. So I did some stretches, and the stretches actually helped quite a bit. And today my legs are still hurting, though not as much. So I thought I would bike for a little bit, again taking it easy. Not my favorite form of exercise, I've discovered. Definitely something that needs to be done in tandem with other exercises, or with another activity. Like today I was watching a YouTube video on my phone, and I decided that I would just take it easy today and like just do something that I don't have to think about too much, and I also know won't hurt too much. Pilates, yoga, I think it might have been a bit of a stretch for me. Pun not intended. But yeah, I don't know. I actually felt really good after yesterday night's stretches. Usually when I'm settling in for bed, I'll still be up for a few more hours because I'm a night owl. And I just felt very energized after that. And I also noticed that after day 1, I felt very energized too. We'll see how today goes. I'll have an update for you on how it's been on day 5, the final day of this challenge, along with full reflections of how it's gone. Side note, I don't know why I decided to bike outside today. It is very hot, but I thought, oh, it's really sunny, so this will be a good idea. It was not a good idea. So I am actually, I think, more tired now, and maybe I'm thinking, as much as sunshine helps my mental health, I feel like I might have just consumed too much vitamin D. But we'll see how we go. Apologies, I don't have my mic on me. It's day 4, and I'm gonna do some yoga. So I'm not feeling as sore as I did yesterday, and definitely not the past few days before, but I think that I want to try the dumbbells again, but I want to do it at the end of the week when I know I'm gonna get a bit of a break after and I don't have to exercise again. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know, it really depends on how tired I am, and like, I don't know, I feel like the mental energy to like do anything right now is really, really low. It's not so much that I don't feel like, you know, it's not really work related so much as it is these exercises specifically, that I'm kind of like, I'm really not in the mood and I really, really don't want to do this, and I especially don't want to film it. So right now I'm just going to do some yoga, which is relatively easy, and we'll see how I feel tomorrow. Not the best way to end this exercise, this kind of 1 month challenge, I suppose, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I don't think my camera captured like half of that when I was standing up. I thought it was going to be more of a lying down exercise with a bit more of like the semi-Pilates stuff, but it didn't end up being that. That's okay. It was not exactly what I call a vigorous exercise, or moderate to vigorous exercise. I wouldn't call it either of those. So maybe today doesn't really count. But I'm really not in the mood to like continue right now. I just don't. I feel like, I don't know, in my mind, I'm like, I just have a lot of work to do and I have to get around to doing that. So I don't really, like, this just feels like I'm wasting time right now. So I'm gonna do that instead. I'm gonna listen to my brain and not fight it just for today. Maybe tomorrow I'll make up for it, but I don't want to promise anything. One thing I've noticed is that like if I did something relatively easy and like did something more vigorous for longer the next day, no, it's not gonna work out. Like I just feel very defeated and tired at the end of it. So I think it's better to just keep it consistent, and if I don't get it to the same level of consistency for now, I'm just gonna call it quits and try again the next day. I think that's the best way to go about it, at least for the way my brain is working. We'll see. All right, it's day 5. Final day of this challenge for a month that I've been doing over the past month. I'll go into my reflections later. I don't really want to spoil too much. Keep watching if you want to know how I feel, but I've already got a lot of thoughts. Now, yesterday I said that I was going to be doing, repeating that dumbbells exercise that I did in day 1, but I think I'm not going to do that. I worked up such a sweat and I actually have to leave the house later today, and I don't think I'm going to have like time to reorganize myself before I do that. Like I needed a shower immediately after I did that, and I don't want that today. So we're not going to do that. What I am going to do is incorporate the dumbbells into one of the Pilates exercises that I've been doing over the past few weeks, and that is usually just one of my go-tos. Have a search around first to see if there's any kind of beginner level, because I'm not a Pilates expert by any means. I'm sure you can tell. But I'm gonna do that, and I'm assuming it'll give me the same kind of burn, just won't really work up the same kind of sweat, which is what I'm hoping for. So we'll see how we go. Right, the end of the challenge, really. I don't know why I'm counting the days, but it's the end of week 4. This is my final reflection after sticking to an exercise schedule for the past month. First off, would I recommend this exercise to everyone? This habit? Probably not. I think that it is possible for everyone to stick to an exercise schedule, but there have to be modifications made according to your lifestyle. One of the things I stuck to the most of all the things Ryan said about maintaining an exercise schedule is that you have to make sure that whatever you're doing fits in with what you normally do all the time, and understand what works for you and what doesn't before you can kind of stick to it. And I feel like in this past month, I never actually found a rhythm, but it was just a lot of experimenting to see what works for me as someone who doesn't really exercise very much or work out at all. So I think in that sense, it's been really rewarding, but I definitely couldn't stick to keeping an exercise schedule the way Ryan intended it. For one, fitting it into your weekly plan, finding a time for it and sticking to it. But also just getting that 150 minutes a week of moderate to vigorous exercise. That's something I was not able to do as a beginner. So by the end of it, I was really just making sure that I was getting some exercise done 5 days a week. And that might just be stretches, which are not very high intensity at all. And I don't know if Ryan would consider stretches to be exercise. Some of it was walking around the beach with my friends. Some of it was something a bit more intense, and it is 75 minutes a week if you do something high intensity. So I did keep that in mind as well. But it was really just getting something done 5 days a week. Another thing I realized is that this is very, very hard to do if I don't have a schedule or some kind of week plan for the day, and if I don't time block my day. I did have that, I guess, in week 4, full disclosure. I chose not to take that into account for the duration of this challenge just because I wanted to keep it consistent. It really does help if you've already got, if you time block your day and you're the kind of person that sets out minutes and that kind of thing that you want to work out, or sets it as an appointment. That's great. I think it will work out for you really well. But if you're the kind of person that's just like, I have this to-do list for the day and I'm just going to get through it, I don't know if a schedule is going to work best for you, because essentially it's just a matter of prioritizing, figuring out when the exercise fits into your day. And I guess that might defeat the purpose of what Ryan recommended, which is, treating it like a doctor's appointment, for example, or a meeting, like a commitment that you have to stick to. But it's hard to do that when, the after effect of when there isn't another person involved. I don't know, maybe it's just me because I'm quite people driven, and usually I make it to appointments on time because I know that other people are relying on me. But when I'm just exercising at home, that's not the case. So I don't really feel the effects of sticking to that routine. So I think it really involves a lot of discipline, I think, in your day, which I don't think everyone has, and I also don't think everyone needs to have if that's not what works for them personally. That's how I feel. But I will say that if you're the kind of person that schedules your day and your week, this will work really well for you, I think. I wish I had started off with, again, his key advice of don't schedule it in a time where it's going to be hard for you. I started off doing it in the morning, and I really did think it was going to be easy for me to do, but I don't think I'm a morning workout kind of person. I just don't think it's for me. I'm not a night workout person either. So there's that, especially not for the high intensity ones.
But just essentially, one thing I've realized that has worked really well for me is figuring out when I'm going to shower that day, and that might depend on if I'm going out. I usually like to shower right before I leave the house. If it's a very hot day, it might be twice a day. Figuring out when I'm showering that day and fitting my exercise in right before that, I think has worked for me the best. Because my day changes. I do not have a 9 to 5, and I do not have set hours every single day. My day is very, very flexible, so that time of day always changes. So that's something I've noticed really works for me. In terms of how it's helped for my mental health, sorry if you just heard the door close, I think someone's come home. I have definitely noticed an improvement. 100% I have noticed an improvement. You would have seen me in week 1, I was pretty down and recovering from a kind of depressive period. And it could just be that my natural brain, like hormonal chemistry cycle, has just repaired itself in the time that I've done this challenge, and it would have been like this anyway. But I definitely feel like exercising, there's a certain sense of accomplishment after I've done it. Like, oh, I've done something good for myself that day. And I think it really, really affects the way I go about the rest of my day as well. It forces me out of bed. It forces me off my phone. And the ones where I kind of combined biking, for example, with watching TV, it made me feel like I've kind of just done my time wasting for the day, and now I can move on and get some work done. Like, I wasn't just kind of sitting there consuming content. There was like a time limit associated with it, which I really like. So yeah, I think it kind of worked for me, but with modifications. But that's my final reflection for the week. If you liked this video and if you haven't seen the rest of the series yet, I highly recommend you check it out. You can see how things have changed over the past few weeks. And if you have seen it and you have liked it, please leave us a like, leave us a comment, tell us what you think, and be sure to subscribe to our channel, where you can hear a lot more tips of me chatting to real experts instead of just at home doing my own thing. And let us know what else you want us to try as well, because that would be really cool. Right, thank you for listening to or watching Self-Improvement Atlas. Really, really appreciate this brief pause in our podcast episodes. Thank you.